I know you've been waiting a whole year. We're sorry about that. But all players, get ready to rock. Meet the Watcher of Realms anniversary. Unprecedented rewards.
Let's kick things off with some big international news about a whistleblower. No, not the Boeing ones. They've all suddenly died under completely normal circumstances. I'm talking about one who got some good news.
This morning, Julian Assange, who founded WikiLeaks and rocked governments around
the world, they let him go. He wants to go away. And that's basically the story. Are you going to promise to go away? Be quiet? Roll over? Die? So who's there? Anybody there? Anyone listening? Anyone caring? No. No. I'm going to let's work in a shamanic state, okay? Meditation. What is meditation? Meditation is when you give yourself a space to quiet down, right? And when I used to have a couple of different mystery schools, and I I served a number of masters. I mean, there's only one master I serve, and that's love's unconditional. And virtually every religion says, there's only one God, and then the bean counters of those religions say it's our God. Give us money, right? And all the progenitors of those religions, Buddha, Christ, Moses, Aisha, why it is you're only a Jew if your mother's Jewish, not if your dad is, right? Why is that? Because Aisha was a Jewish slave, and she became a queen. And she was so good at listening and watching and observing, and then she had the king's ear, right? So, and that's one thing that Israel does not do today. It tries to bully its way. I mean, there's so many people, so many books that if you want to read them, you can see. I mean, the thing about history is that it is well documented, right? Now, it's kind of disjointed, right? And it's put in a window of duality, good, bad, white, black, and it's none of the above. It's only one love. Right? Now, there are many different dimensions, right? But that's not duality. It's just different times, different spaces, different places, right? And when you can quiet your mud puppet brain of all the distractions, you can start to see what's going on. Right? And so go to the Bible and go read about Aisha and how she basically, everyone gives Abraham and Moses the heads up, right? And David, he was an amazing warrior. And because he wasn't a warrior. He's a little kid. The opposition had these giants, right? Cyclopses. He goes out there with a slingshot because he always had his mind connected to God's love, right? So he went out there without worrying, right?
Green beans, cabbage, fried potatoes, and all. So if you can, some of the cabbage or something else. We don't do that. We have extra menu that's free, or you can do like a side salad or.
That'd be good. A little side salad would be good.
Okay.
No one-
Do you want that on a bun or on? No mayonnaise, nothing. Okay, tomato.
Sweetie, do you by chance have a vegetable combination?
A what?
A vegetable combination? No. You got to order them.
No, you can do like, I mean, if you're just looking for straight vegetables, you could just do like a side salad. We have a guy who comes in, he gets a side salad, but he
Nope.
doesn't get lettuce.
But the things you just mentioned were all yummy, and I was wondering if I could. But I had to buy them separately. Right?
Oh, no. You mean like the cabbage and
Yeah,
the.
yeah,
So, no, you could do like, you don't have, if you want to get like the special, you don't have to get the chicken tenders or the liver.
Uh-huh.
And they obviously take that off the price.
Okay.
So you can just do
Oh, okay.
any combination of what you want, like cabbage, green beans,
What other veggies you got?
just the cabbage and the green beans. But then they have, if you want to do, they do have peppers and onions and mushrooms and
No, I think I got exciting enough.
just cabbage and green beans.
No.
Oh,
What I just had. Yeah, just. No, I won't have. I will just have my check. Oh, there it is.
okay, you're all set then.
Yes, I'm all set.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, there's one person there. So, you can, it's obvious that we're going to pick up the two wars, right? We're going to force the war in Ukraine to go totally, we're going to have boots on the ground in Ukraine, right? Because the average age of the Ukrainian soldier is 40. I mean, all the young folks, they split, This is what happened, Close to 2 million Ukrainians left, when they thought Russia was conquering. So, and the rest of Europe embraced them in their arms, right? And a good 300,000 young men split too. I mean, they had the education, they had the skill sets, they had the money. They just bought a ticket and got out of Dodge, leaving the old folks to fight America. Not America again. It's the transnational oligarch, right? We're heading towards, the federation, right? And so, the real deal is the thing that can stop is love, And so neither Donald Trump is he's pleased, right? But what he'll do, he will basically pull, he'll give Israel total backing to nuke everybody in the Middle East, except Saudi Arabia and the kids, and be the big hegemonic power, right? But what will happen is what happened in the Bible. Look, every time Israel did that, what happened? 10, 20, 30 years later, the people who they kicked their asses came back and enslaved them. So, and that's fine with the high table. I don't know where you guys are living, but have anyone noticed how hot the sun is? So some of the church people gave me a car, which is very nice of them, but it was a real beater. And I've had to put like $600 my own cash into this sucker, and I don't have that. But so anyway, so I get to see. So I go to mechanics I know I can trust, but you can't trust anybody, not even yourself, because most people are so addicted, strung out, not in consciousness of love. Right? And I would suggest that you go watch or listen to a channel called Alternative. No, what's it called? It's a New Age channel.
Refectory. And that comes from a Latin term for a place of restoration. To refect is an old word that means to refresh oneself or another person with food or drink. And one other thing I want to add about that is that meals at the monastery are silent, but each week a different person is assigned to read aloud a book while other people eat.
Terrifying and it's awful and all that, but that's not empty. That's they're filling that up with their ideas of voidness. You know, if we have to use the term empty, I would think of I don't know if people will like this example, but you know when you have a really great bowel movement?
Everybody's had that experience. We can all relate.
Oh, you just all of a sudden the air is clear, the sun, just birds are singing, you feel deliciously
You are
empty.
successful.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I call it. Cutting a loaf or passing a brick. Most people are constipated because they've got, and all they do is think about their shit. They have enough shit. They have too much shit. Is their job full of shit? Is their wife or husband full of shit? Are their kids full of shit? Mom and dad full of shit?
Something analogous to that. But the thing is that everyone who experiences this, and you don't have to be an ancient sage, anyone who
Yes, you don't have to be an ancient sage to take a good dump, right?
practices the ease of natural meditation, allowing themselves to just settle into this, you will get some glimpse of it, and then the glimpses get clearer and they last for longer. And eventually, the whole idea is that you're living from there all the time. The whole point of meditation is to not have to meditate anymore. And what everyone experiences.
Right. The thing of meditation, see, everyone thinks it's a task, it's hard, it's difficult. Oh, I have to clear my mind. No. You ground yourself. When I was in the ashram, I mean, we were monks and we were taught martial arts, Aikido, but not like to compete or beat somebody up. No, it was to take those disciplines and focus it in on our inner self, right? The real war we're having is with ourselves, right? But the number one thing we always did was to set ourselves, whether we were sitting or standing or even lying down, we would set ourselves into chi. How is your chi? I mean, that was the question. What's your chi up to, And that means how connected are you with God's unconditional love? That's Gaia. That's the earth. Our planet Earth is love. And as we destroy our planet Earth, I'm in a place that up until, I've been here 25 years, and up until 4 years ago, this place was the Garden of Eden. I mean, this was the capital of bean growing. And then Maymead and Monsanto and Bayer came in and turned it into a monoculture, right? We should be thinking about the monotheistic. What is that? One God? No, one God is love. One love. That's what monotheism is, right? So,
experiences is, oh yeah, this is what I was looking for everywhere else. No one who experiences what we're talking about says, okay, I experienced it, but I didn't like it. It's not for me. Because it is what we are. It is home, and this is another way we can understand this. Why is it? What is the common root of fear, anxiety, anger, and addiction? They're all symptoms of what we could call a deep state of homelessness. Where I live in Santa Monica, and especially a few blocks away in Venice, there's a lot of homeless people living on the streets. And in a way, they're profound teachers to me of what is going on with us, we could say spiritually or existentially, when we are not experiencing what we are at the deepest level. We're not experiencing what we are. We're not experiencing this silent awareness itself, which is like the mirror that reflects all the experiences that we're aware of. Then we get caught up in all those experiences and trying to arrange our happiness in terms of those things that are always moving parts and ultimately ungovernable. And so naturally, not being home, not being in this place of, I've come back, here I am, this is where I belong. When we don't have that, anytime you're uprooted from home, you're susceptible to fear, anxiety, anger, and then the addictive cravings, with which we try to self-medicate to soothe those things.
Okay, now, Dean, if we practice this and we experience it and we bring it into our life, however, several times a day, or we have it in our lives on occasion, we're getting better and better at it. Does this take us out of the activity of participating in life? Does this take us out of that?
No, quite the opposite. In fact, the classic text of meditation and action in Indian tradition is the Bhagavad Gita, where all the teachings are given not to a monk in a cave. They're given to a warrior on the battlefield just before the battle begins. And that's us. We're in the battlefield of life. The thing is, for instance, if you think of the really great social activists, the ones who've really changed the world, you think of Dr. King, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, they're not people who were stressed. They're not people who were all wound up in the way, some social activists are. My parents were political activists, all their friends were. I grew up seeing their meetings in my living room, and at a pretty young age, I started to figure out, how are these people going to create peace in the world when they don't have peace in themselves?
Because they were very agitated in their activities. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. When you are coming from that place of silence, you're more effective. You have greater clarity. You don't get caught up in stuff. One of the chapters in the book is titled, Would It Help? The 2015 Steven Spielberg film, Bridge of Spies, true story of Rudolf Abel, the Soviet spy who was captured in New York City and put on trial for his life. Fortunately, in the film, his lawyer is Tom Hanks. So probably things are going to turn out okay. And in their first jailhouse meeting, the lawyer says to him, the Americans and the Soviets, you're very inconvenient for both of them. Both sides would like to see you in the electric chair. And Rudolf Abel, played by the great Mark Rylance, who won an Oscar for this part. He considers that for a moment, and then he says, "All right." And the lawyer says, "You don't seem worried." He considers that for a moment, and then he says with a little shrug, "Would it help?" Yeah, and that thing is like a sword. That would it help? That is the sword of discrimination. How much of the running around like chickens with their heads cut off? How much of the Facebook tirades? How much of the yelling at the TV news? How much of that helps? How much of it makes life better? How much of it reduces suffering for ourselves and others? And how much of it is just useless at best and counterproductive at worst?
So, Dean, that takes me to another story. Tell us the story of Miles Davis and Herbie Hancock.
Right. So young Herbie was playing with Miles and a lineup of just all-star jazz greats in Stuttgart in, I think, 1960 something. And they're cooking along. Everything's going great. And Herbie hits a completely wrong chord. He's a good keyboard player. And he hits a chord that is disastrously wrong. And I believe he clapped his hands over his own ears in horror. Miles, without missing a beat, plays a solo, taking the notes of that wrong chord and making them right, weaving them into what they were playing. That is just, that's how you do it. Whatever life, exactly as you were saying, whatever life throws at you, you can say, this is wrong. There's no way to deal with this. You can clap your hands over your ears and just go, or you can say, okay, now it's time for my solo. It's always time for our solo.
But the trick was that Miles was master of his instrument.
Yes.
And that's where the meditation comes in for me, is that, hey, you can't expect it to be there if you haven't done your scales, so to speak, if you haven't practiced. Would you agree with that?
And again, that brings us back to you got to do the fire drill before the fire. Toward the end of the book, when we start getting into some of the heavier stuff, I have a chapter about death, which is obviously a big topic of fear for a lot of people. And I give some
This radio show was called New Dimensions, right? It's on the internet, newdimensions.org, I think. Another good show is alternativeradio.org. And always, what do you call it? What's her name? Amy and Democracy Now, right? So, yeah.
Can I ask you to turn down the volume?
I just turned it off.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problemo.
Yeah, it's kind of irritating to the other customers.
Yeah, I hear you. Do. Meaning the other customers didn't want to hear about how to breathe. And the only customers in here are big men. Anyway, so whoops. Well, I gotta go. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll try maybe. How much juice do I got left here? I've got a good chunk. Maybe I'll come back later in the afternoon. Okay. Back. Do.